Hi, this is Dr. Micol Neey, and thanks for listening to our show. We are here to talk a little bit about mindset, movement, and muscle, and maybe a few other little fun things along the way. Dr. Micol here, and you know how much I love talking about the body as a whole, but I don't think we can be whole without our spirit as well. And I'm here today with Treasure. I'm so excited to hear your story. Tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
It's open-ended.
It's a journey. You know, I've been on the spiritual journey. I call it the journey of remembering and awakening for nearly 30 years. I had what I would call a fairly traumatic, childhood and even young adulthood where I was very lost. And so I found yoga, thankfully, when I was about 25, and it just really changed everything for me. It sent me on, a path of discovery and remembering. And so here I am now, nearly 30 years later. I'm a completely different person. And I really I attribute it to my ability to say yes to myself.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What was that first yoga class? Like, why yoga and what type? Like, what led you there?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it was really just hatha yoga. I mean, there weren't like all of these different models of yoga and all of these different places. I mean, there was At One Yoga here in the Valley, and that was like one of the only yoga studios. And it was a calling, there was no doubt about it. I feel like that our souls are calling to us and showing us the way, like all the time. And whether or not we listen is our choice. Whether or not we say yes is our choice. And so I can't tell you exactly why yoga, because it wasn't out there a lot at that point. It was really kind of new on the scene. It became pretty hot as I was a teacher and I was in the scene back in the day, and as it was really starting to take off. But that very first yoga class, I feel like it was the very first time that I felt really like myself. And in the Shavasana, I just laid there, so many people resist Shavasana, which is, it's the most important posture that we do in yoga. And for me, it was like there was a settling and there was an opening that happened that I had never experienced before. So it just shifted.
Explain to someone who's never done yoga what a Shavasana is.
So it's the final resting pose. It's actually, Shavasana is just the Sanskrit term for corpse pose. So it's basically like you're meant to just lay there like you're dead.
And you just don't move.
You don't move.
So hard in our society, right?
Yes.
Yes. I know I struggle with that. Like if you tell me just sit and don't move for a minute, that's one of the hardest things for me to do.
Yeah.
But I see that over and over, and we're kind of training our younger generations to be that way.
Yeah.
Tell me what you do now. You have your businesses and your location is called The Space.
It is.
Where did you come up with this, and what do you do now?
Okay. So, whenever I'd been on the journey for a really long time, I became what was, people saw me as an expert in the world of mindfulness and yoga. And I had helped start a nonprofit where we taught mindfulness in schools, which was really, really beautiful. And but I was still like struggling, right? I was coming up against so many of my own, traumas still. And I was like, this isn't it. Like something's
missing.
Yeah. Something's got to shift. I mean, and at that point I was in my early 40s, and I had I've sat at the feet of masters. I had been like really almost every training that you can think of in my world of wellness, Reiki, breath work, yoga to the highest level that I possibly could, life coaching. I mean, all of it. but I was still at this place where I was like, I was struggling. And so I just quit it all. And I mean, my kids were still young. So my son was, I think, third grade at the time. Fifth and then seventh. So third, fifth, and seventh. So I was still a mom, and a wife. And I call it my self-made sabbatical because I just stopped everything, right?
Just one day. Just quit.
Yeah, just
Amazing.
one day. I quit. And and it was really difficult. I gave myself 1 year initially because I'm a doer. I'm like, even whenever, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm like president of the PTO, I'm president of NCL. I'm like, I'm always doing things, right? And so I gave myself 1 year and I said, okay, you're not doing anything outside of the house, outside of the kids, outside of your own work. And I call that first year really kind of my detox year because it was like I had to let go of everything that I thought that I was. And I went from being like really, really busy, and having my calendar full and my email full and, to nothing, to just crickets, right?
I think so many people listening, myself included, can relate.
Yeah.
Like, that is our life, is busy, go, your identities and your kids, your work, your every moment.
Yep.
How hard was that to just say, okay, I'm done?
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I mean, no doubt about it. And, my husband would call me. And at that time I was dedicated to at least 3 days a week. Cause all my kids were in sports, it was just kind of crazy. And so I put it in the calendar, like, this is my time. And so at least 3 days a week, I was in meditation for 5 hours, and I wouldn't leave my bedroom, for several months, just for that time. And because for me, it was, and I say this all the time, for me, it was like life or death. I was like, I'm either breaking through and I'm figuring out myself, or I don't want to be here anymore. That's how it was for me, because I had come through so much and I had changed so much about myself. And, I was a mess when I was a younger person, legitimately. And so, but I still was like, there's something missing. And having experienced people that had broken through, like masters that had broken through, I knew there was more. And so I wasn't willing to go on in life until I figured it out. Yeah. I was like, what is this? And I had challenged myself in all of these different ways. I had to like prove something to myself in my early 30s. And then by the time I got to my early 40s, I was like, okay, there's something that's still missing that I have to get to. And so I knew that I had to go into stillness and silence. I knew that that was the only way for me. And so that first year was really like the detox. That was like letting go of, I'm a teacher, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a healer, I'm all of these things, all of the labels that I'd placed upon myself and that other people had placed on me. So that was the first year. And then the second year, as I got done, I was like almost done with the first year, and I was in meditation and I was sitting and I was just like, okay, I'm not there. I know this isn't it. Like, what is it? And I heard so clearly, you haven't given all of yourself yet. And in that moment, I knew, like, just in the deepest parts of myself, that I was still holding on, that I hadn't fully surrendered. And so the next year was all about surrender. It was all about surrender. It was all about remembering to trust that ultimately God, source, universe has our highest and our best always at the forefront. And so if we would just let go and let God, universe, source, whatever speaks to you, I'm even like, if it's, Mother Gaia, the earth, the wind, whatever it is, that you can really let go into and just remember that you're held, that you're guided. And so that second year was my year of bliss. So
how did they look different? So you took this year just to be kind of calm and meditate, and then you're letting surrender. How does that look different when you're just being calm versus surrendering?
That's a really good question. I don't think that I would say I was just trying to be calm because I was already really calm.
Mm-hmm.
I was already like, I was kind of a master meditator at that point. I taught meditation. I knew how to still my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about that. It was about really remembering who I was, So the difference really became like, okay, I'm not in charge, and everything that I think that I know, I have to fully let go.
Yeah. I
have to empty my cup. And at that point I had books upon books. I had certifications. I went through and I got rid of nearly all of my books. I stopped looking outside of myself. I stopped listening to any other teachers. I got off of social media completely. I didn't read a single book. I went and I sat out in in the desert. I say all the time, like the Sonoran Desert really healed me.
Yeah. Nature really speaks to our spirit, I think.
Yes. There's no doubt about it. What I tell people all the time is like, you have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
You have everything that you require within. But we spend so much time out there and thinking that somebody else has the answers for us.
Yeah.
That somebody else can guide us. And yeah, we can lean into people. We can lean into guides. We can lean into those that are here on the physical plane and then also those on the spiritual plane. Our beautiful guides, Jesus, the Buddha, all of these different beautiful spiritual guides that we have. But ultimately, we're all called to look within.
Mm-hmm.
I've now been out of sabbatical for nearly 8 years. I was, it's funny because I said that I did more for humanity while I was in my meditation chair at home by myself than I had ever done before. Because I was in and with the energy of all that is. And I had this power like radiating out of me. And I was in oneness and I felt it. I experienced it. We call it samadhi in yoga. It's that the veil has lifted and you are in and with God's source. You can feel it, you know it. And that's why I call it the years of bliss, because it was almost 3 years that I was just, nothing could touch me. The kids were still young. My life was still, I was going to sporting events. I was doing all of this stuff. But who I was in that was in such a place of peace, right? That like I had nothing negative happen to me ever. Like not even a negative word that anybody could hit me with. I couldn't hold a negative thought. It was fascinating. I remember.
Was it that there was nothing negative in the world around you, or it just wasn't affecting you?
It wasn't affecting me. It wasn't affecting me at all. The kids were the same. Life was the same. It was how I responded to everything. Nothing could touch me.
I believe in God with all my heart. And I've been through some similar where I was like, is this true? And you search after it and you realize that our spirit is there searching. And the answers are like, God has told us, he gives us perfect peace. And he says that nature will proclaim his name. So I love that picture of stepping back and just listening with nature and what he's telling us. How did it look then after? Like you had this beautiful experience. What was that afterwards then for you to hold on to it? Because I can tell with your energy that you're happy and whole. Sometimes we find that or we listen for a moment and then we get distracted with everything around us. Like, how did you stay there?
Well, I definitely am not in the same place that I was, right? I found that to be, if I was going to, and I say this all the time, I'm like, if I was going to disappear to a mountaintop, right, then I think that it would be very easy to maintain that. I was called back into the world, right?
Mhm.
And Spirit was very clear with me. God was very clear with me. It's time to now go share, right?
Mhm.
And at the time, I remember I resisted it so much because I was I was like, oh, and every moment was like, like this.
Huh.
And so whenever God said, okay, it's time to go, I resisted. So, but I was in surrender, right? And so I was just like, okay, you tell me, I was at the place, and this is just how I live my life now, left or right, you tell me which way. I know that you're providing. I know that you're giving me exactly what that it is that I need. And so at that moment, that's what I did. And so I found this one little room up in Cave Creek. I'm up in Cave Creek. I've lived there for 24 years. I raised my kids there and found this one perfect little room. And it just spoke to my soul. As soon as I walked in, I just knew energetically it was there to hold me, hold the work. And then I just continued through surrender. I didn't bring in any of what I had done before. I really just opened my heart to God and I said, you show me the way, show me how it is that I'm meant to work with people. And so what happened was that the work was really kind of born, right? So it was things that I had done before, but in a totally different way, in this completely surrendered space. So for the first year out of sabbatical, I was just in that one little room and I was still in bliss and joy and, it was all good. And then I added another room and I got more people, right?
Yeah.
And then things start to get a little more challenging. Your own ego mind starts to come back in. Old habitual patterns will start to rise a little bit and you notice them, right?
Yeah.
So then I was back in the work. I was back in the work of myself, but in the world, in a different space, right?
Yeah.
So I've been saying it's so interesting because for the last 8 years now, I've been in the work, right? In the world. And there's many times that I've wanted to just quit it all and just lay it all down and go back to my meditation chair at home and that divine peace and connection. But I know that that's not why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here to share. I know now more than anything that my mission really is to shine light and share love. And to be in the world and do that, we have to do our work.
Do you think working in this space helps you find your way back over and over?
All the time. I mean, all the time, because it's what I do, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
I'll tell people that if I'm feeling a little twisted, if I've got a lot, going on in my personal life or whatever it is, just going and working with a one-on-one client or going to a group, it immediately just, everything lifts. Because the thing that I've learned is that, because you awaken, right, and really remember who you are in and with God, it doesn't mean that you don't have struggles. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be faced with things occasionally because we're human.
Yeah.
We're meant to walk through these different moments in our life that are going to challenge us. There's a beautiful book by one of, my mentors, Thich Nhat Hanh, that he wrote a book called No Mud, No Lotus. And the lotus flower is one of the most beautiful flowers that we have. And it grows in mud.
Yeah.
And it's just such an incredible symbol.
It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people are going to ask. Like, you were able to take this couple years off and find peace. What do you tell to someone who can't? Like, maybe that single mom who's just trying to make ends meet and she feels like there's got to be more to life.
Yeah.
Where do you go? Where do you start to even connect or open up or find peace?
Yeah. So I tell people all the time that you can do it in the cracks and the crevices of your life. It doesn't have to be so hard. People think that it's really hard, right? And it really is. One of my things is like, just keep it simple, sweetie. Right?
I love it. We had that in medicine. Keep it simple, stupid. We said I like sweetie better.
Yeah. I changed it. Because it's like, it doesn't, my journey was one where I went very, very deep.
Mm-hmm.
But now in the 8 years that I've been out of sabbatical, obviously most everybody that I've worked with, they can't do that.
Yeah.
Right. So you just start wherever you are. But most people are always like, they're distracting themselves, right? They're distracting themselves over and over and over again. And we have pockets in our day all over the place that we can pause. I tell people all the time, like, you have like a rolling sanctuary in your car, right? But most people are spending that time in complete distraction. They're listening to podcasts, which you should, right? Because it's a time. But if you're looking for peace, if you're looking to break through, if you're looking to remember who you really are, it really is about creating stillness and silence as often as possible in your life. So it's the moments, I call it the bookends of life while you're lying in bed. So most of us, they get up, you grab your phone, you're immediately on your phone. Life is boom, it's there. You can't escape it.
More than ever now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every day is a choice. So you get to choose, how do I wake up? How do I go to sleep? How do I spend the 5 minutes here, the 10 minutes here? We get to choose. And people will say, yeah, but that's so hard. Everything in life is difficult.
Yeah. I'm willing to go train for a marathon, but can I step back and do 10 minutes of meditation or prayer?
Right.
And you're right. Like, we live in this crazy world, but if we don't connect to the spirit, you're always going to be feeling like something's missing and chaotic.
Yes.
Give me 3 things real quick that someone who's listening and goes, hey, I just need to start connecting. What do I do simple day to day?
Yeah. Well, breathe.
Okay.
First and foremost is to breathe. It's to remember to take deep breaths. We have this beautiful tool with us that is with us all the time. I mean, from the very first moment of life to the very last.
Yeah.
So just remember to breathe.
I'm going to have a podcast where all we do is breathe.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it shifts everything. And I know that, there's beautiful people out there that they're putting all of their attention and all of their energy into breath work. Pranayama is an ancient technique. It has been around for thousands of years. This is not new. Breath work, right? Breathe. So you start with just breathing, right? Second one is just to make sure that the bookends of your day, that you have awareness. It's really just, if I could just sprinkle like a bit of wisdom on somebody that is just like, just do this.
Yes.
Awareness and intention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you open your eyes, right? Every single day for me, it's thank you, thank you, thank you. The very first thing that I do, take a deep breath. I place hands here, and I just breathe. I don't rush.
So you don't grab your phone. You don't start scrolling.
Never.
It seems so simple, but I think we need reminded because of how society's become. You can take 10 minutes in the morning. Like, I have this little spot in my yard that I've learned if I start my day with just sit there and breathe and enjoy a little sun on my face, my day goes so much better.
Yes.
Even if I have a huge load. But if I grab my phone and just start working immediately, it's like this chaos that I can't ever spiral out of for the day.
So I call my work inner frontier because what I've come to understand, it's the exploration of the self, right? And so you can investigate yourself. So exactly what it is that you just said, right? It's like, I know whenever I make this choice, And I say yes to me first thing in the morning for 10 minutes. It's not like, it doesn't take hours. It's literally just moments woven throughout your day that make the biggest shifts, right? And so then you can just investigate and you can go like, okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
I feel better when I do that, right? I feel better whenever, for 10 minutes before I go to bed. You know, I never watch anything before I go to bed. You know, I have that. And it's not that I don't watch TV. I mean, I watch TV, you know, for a long time, you know, and especially with like yogis and in the yoga world, and it's very intense, right? And it's like,
it can be
very strict, right? And so I went through that.
That's what I thought of church growing up. You know, I was a pastor's daughter and I was like, follow these rules.
Yes.
But I think you're right. Like, it can be those little moments throughout the day.
Yes. It doesn't have to be so strict.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, I say all the time, no rules, just love.
Yeah.
Right. Because ultimately I've done all of that. You know, I became a vegan. I like, you know, I was so aware of everything that I was putting in, you know, here, and it wasn't sustainable. And so I wanted to live life. You know, I'm like, I'm here to live life. So if I feel like having a steak, I'll have a steak. If I feel like having a glass of wine, I'll have a glass of wine. But I'm aware about everything that I do. I have awareness and I have intention with everything that I do. And that really is just, it's the key to everything.
Yeah. So breathe, bookends, and awareness.
And awareness.
I love that. Yes. I think just those 3 steps can help us connect.
Yeah.
And we might not be able to take a year or 2 off. Yeah. But a few minutes is very doable.
Yes.
Very doable.
Say yes to you.
Well, I absolutely love your story. And I think it just resonates so much with everyone in our society and how we are needing to connect with ourselves and with God. Yes. I think you can't be whole and healthy without that.
Yes.
So I would love to hear even more, but how do we find you if we want to know more?
So I'm up in Cave Creek, but I can do things also virtually. Amazing. My website is thespaceaz.org. Very easy. The one thing that I think that I do better than almost anything is just holding space. I hold space for others to remember.
What a gift now. What a gift. Well, let's start with breathing again. Yes. We've been told this over and over, so maybe we should start doing it. Just start morning and night, your bookends, and then just be aware through the day. Maybe it's a few minutes of driving down the road instead of EDM blasting.
That's right.
I'm speaking to myself. Well, thank you for your time, and I can't wait to hear, how will these change your life? Just start today.